Hello, I'm Olabisi, behind the maker of candles behind Athari Candle. Let me slow down. I do make these videos and publish them every Monday and Friday. So this is my video for Friday that I'll be putting out on YouTube. So I have a little script that I started using here because I tend to kind of go off script. But again, my name is Ola. I'm the maker behind Athari Candle. My mission is to bring peace, strength, and renewal into everyday spaces, one candle at a time. This week is all about the basics, so whether you've never made a candle or just want to start fresh, this video is for you. In this video, I go through a couple of different steps on candle making, and I'll make a candle as we go through the process. Let me go ahead and gather all of my stuff. We're going to actually make a 4-ounce candle right here. And with this 4-ounce candle, we're going to use one wick. Here's the candle as it is right now. And then I'll show you the process of where I add the wick, where I go ahead and add the fragrance. This week I'm making a coconut caramel candle. It's called Island Bliss, and that will be part of my Caribbean collection. So I'm starting that process now. Let me not talk too much about it. Let me go ahead and start the process. So I have some items set up here already, and those items include a wick sticker. This is the wick sticker right here. So the wick, although it is smaller, it goes right on that, right here on the center of that wick right here. So that's that, and I just need one of these. I'm using one of these wick stickers, the wick, and I'm also using this little doodad right here, which is a wick holder. And once I'm done making the candle, once I'm done making the candle, the wick will sit on top like that. The wick hold will sit on top. Let me move this out the way. And I have my fragrances right here. And here are the fragrances. They're caramel and coconut. These are the two fragrances that I'm using to make the candles. And I have my candles, I have my pour container right here. This is the candle container that I'm using to pour it into. Although I do that for larger candles with this large pour pot that's been reinforced. I had to reinforce it at the bottom with like a plastic seal that is from metal. Although I use that for large orders, right now I'm just doing one candle. So I'm going to show you how that one candle, I use just my melter right now. So I'm going to put this to the side, put that here so you can see it more clearly. And I am going to flip this around. Here is my melter, my beautiful, lovely melter. I love that melter because it is not only for, it is also for canning. I did receive that melter as a gift. I appreciate who it sent it to me so much. I'm grateful for that. I'm going to start on the process now of making that candle, and here we go. So I'm just putting the wick, centering it into the container. And how I do that, I take my wick sticker. I have a pair of pliers because I don't like using my own hands to place that wick sticker in there. So what I do is just peel that off, put the wick right on the sticker, if you can see. Here we go. And there we go. I put that wick right on the wick sticker. And then there is a paper part as well. Let's see if I can get that off. It is hard to get off the paper because it's flush with the wick sticker. It takes a little bit of prying. There we go. So the wick sticker is off. I'm sorry, the wick paper sticker is off. And I'm going to add this to the bottom of this. Just like that. Yeah. So it's in there. There we go. Centered into the bottom of the container, and this is again the 4 ounce that I'm doing, and I'm using that. I'm going to go ahead and take a smaller, here we go, like this. This is actually good for mixing the fragrance into the wax. And let me go ahead and show you what I'm going to do. Sorry about that. What we're going to do, hopefully it should pour. There we go. And I'm just going to take a little bit of that. That should be good. And it'll drip right into the pot below. And now I'm going to take that, and here's the wax in there. That wax is clean, it's fresh, there's no debris, and I love that part because it's covered so nothing can fall in there. And what I'm going to do is take that wax, pull that away a little, take that wax and mix in my fragrance. And for that part, I actually measure using smaller 1 ounce containers. And let me put my gloves on, because you get you get fragrance all over your hand, and it takes days and lots of alcohol to get that fragrance off of your hand. You don't want to continue to have to wash your hands every time. So what I do use are gloves. Just get a box of gloves. And I get those gloves. Here we go. I have my gloves. And I take these gloves and, just put them on. Here we go. And I put them on in order to handle the fragrance, because again, that fragrance will get on your hands and it will make your hands smell like whatever fragrance you're about to put into your candle. So I have my 4 ounce candle with the wick. I just anchored that wick in. If you roll back the video and you didn't see that part, you can see it in the earlier part of this video. I just added the wick and the wick sticker to the bottom of that. Oh, I almost dropped that. I didn't realize that top was off. And I'm going to go ahead and take this and add just a little bit. And that's the amount that I want to use of one kind. That's the coconut creme, which smells really good. My cousin actually is getting a candle this Thursday. Thank you, cuz. So I am going to add now the coconut caramel. So we had the coconut creme, and now we're adding the coconut caramel. And you can mix fragrances. It's perfectly fine. Don't ever think you can't mix fragrances. I definitely enjoy the mixing of fragrances. Okay, so I'm going to make that about half. Right there, as you can see, it's half. Oh, thought something was on me. And I'm covering that. So that's about half. Oh, the label came off. Okay, the label will come off. That's okay. Because I know it's a 1 ounce bottle, I can just toss that label. But again, here is the fragrance, and you can see it. If you can actually see the two fragrances in there, they kind of they're not mixed. One is heavier than the other. Sorry, don't mean to shake it. One is heavier than the other, but they will mix up after a while. I don't shake it up too much. What I am going to do is just pour that right into here. There we go. Pour that right into there, and I'm just going to keep a little bit to the side. Oh, that smells good. I think I'm just going to go ahead and add that entire amount, because I'm going to use this in the 4 ounce container with that wick in there, and I'm going to stir that up. I found that the idea of stirring it up, at first it didn't seem okay, but I want to go ahead and stir that up. So I have my metal stir that I can just wipe off, and I'm stirring that and stirring that. And you usually should stir for quite a little while. The fragrance needs to absorb into the wax, because you don't want that fragrance sitting on the top or on the bottom of your container, because it will, you get the fragrance more at the top and then after a while it won't, you won't smell anything at the bottom, excuse me. You won't smell anything at the bottom, and that fragrance actually mixed really well just now. So I can see it mix because there are no swirls in this fragrance right now. So I'm going to take that out, wipe this off, and I have lots of napkins. I mean, I buy napkins, paper towel, whatever you want to use. I don't use cloth because then you have to wash it over and over and over again, but I like to use these napkins that I just toss in the garbage. You don't reuse them, of course, because once you mix a fragrance, once you add or wipe off the equipment that you're using, it's no good. You know, working at the airport as well, you do have the same, you know, I get these napkins from the same distributor, and these napkins are really good. They're very absorbent. But again, in relationship to the napkins, once you use them one time, and in relationship to the airport, these napkins are a one-time use. You use them, you toss them. You know, they're biodegradable. You know, it's okay for the environment, which is important to me. But let me go ahead and pour that into here. Let me pull that back a bit. And I'm going to put this napkin under there so it doesn't spill on the table. So as you can see, let me move this one. Or, duh, that would make better sense. Let me go ahead and pour that. Make it even. And that is actually it. It is poured. Wipe this. And I could pour it to the top. Let me see. Yeah, that's about it. I don't want to pour it too high because then it will overflow the container, or I won't be able to add decoration. And I do actually like adding decoration. Let me show you one that I did decoration on. If I can get the top off. Yeah, there we go. So I can add decoration similar to this. This is coconut, the Island Bliss candle that I did here for my cousin. And I'm putting that collection out. But I do the decorations around the sides because it looks nice. It gives it a nice decorative finish. It gives it a nice flair to the decoration. So I'm going to do that. Okay. I'm going to let this set. And I'm actually using this right here because the wick fits perfectly in there and it takes no time to set. So I'm going to leave that right there. And I sit them in front of a fan. You might get noisy, but here's the fan that I sit them in front of. And I use that fan to let them cool down a little more rapidly than if they were to cool down at room temperature, because you don't want your wax to, I don't want my wax to continuously take a really long time to cool down. I like that when it cools down at a, you know, pretty rapid pace where I can see it, so that I can start covering them up. I just like them setting in the dark instead of being exposed to the light or having or staying uncovered for a really long time. But again, this is just an introduction to candle making. I wanted to bring this out to let you all know about this process, and I do have all of my tools you know, around me handy available. But here we go. Thank you for joining this process. You all enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.